Next, we look at an interesting question: is inventory desirable or undesirable? Now, if you reflect on this a bit, you will realize that inventory is absolutely desirable. Without inventory, we cannot create products and services. We have to have stocks as we produce. It's like in the kitchen, it's not practical to to have food or rather to ensure the timely availability of food if nothing is stocked in the kitchen. But on the other hand, inventory is also a burden, and inventory burdens the system in various ways. So inventory is both a requirement, absolute requirement, without which we cannot do what we want to do. At the same time, inventory also burdens us. It's an undesirable thing. So look at this cartoon where this person, he's huge, he's fat, and he's fat obviously because his eating habits are not the best possible. So he has put on a lot of fat in his body, and you can see here how he's trying to grab a cake or something very delicious kept on top of that table, but he's not able to reach it. Why is he not able to reach it? Because the inventory in his body, the fat in his body, which is like inventory, or you can say inventory in the organization is like the fat in the body, right? So in this case, the fat in his body is preventing him from reaching out to what actually was the cause of that fat, right? So in the same way, when there is too much inventory in the organization, it's like unnecessary fat in the body, and it prevents the organization or comes in the way of the organization's performance. So too much inventory is very bad. At the same time, some minimum amount of inventory is an absolute requirement for all organizations. So here I'm giving an example from the news, which I gathered in 2018. This was about the excess inventory stock that was present in companies in India. This turned out to be a blessing. Let's see how it turned out to be a blessing. First, let's look at why there was so much inventory. So this was because in 2018, in the early part of 2018, before the summer actually began, there were soaring temperatures. Temperatures went up very high, and AC manufacturers expected that there would be 15% more demand this year than earlier, and hence they produced more. But suddenly there was also an excess monsoon that year. There was excess rain in some regions, and this led to a degrowth by more than 10%. So as a result, the AC manufacturers were left with excess inventory. The sales were not up to what they expected. They were left with excess inventory of about 6 to 7 lakh units, and this was valued at about 1,750 crores. But because the manufacturing of AC also requires parts to be imported, and the exchange rates had gone up, which means the Indian currency had become a little weaker at that point of time. So they realized that actually, even though there is excess inventory now, they have saved money, because if we were to not produce, if we were to produce in future, we would have actually spent more money. And therefore, we have saved some money, even though we have now left with inventory which has to be disposed over time. But in producing those ACs, we have actually saved money. So in this way, the excess inventory turned out to be a blessing. Now, another example, in 2017, this news was about how all of a sudden a government regulation asked automobile manufacturers to switch from BS3 to BS4, and very, very little time was given to them to make this switch. The Supreme Court, this came from the Supreme Court, and they said that there should be no more sales of BS3 vehicles from April 1st, 2017. So practically no time was given to the companies. So at that point of time, there was a huge stock of BS3 vehicles, naturally, because nobody expected a sudden announcement to come from the Supreme Court. Although there were earlier warnings that the automobile industry is expected to go towards BS4, there was no clear, sharp deadline of this type given to them. So as a result, what happened was around this time when this announcement came, there were 8.24 million finished vehicles, and these were estimated to be worth 12,000 to 15,000 crores all over the country. And automakers had to sell these vehicles at massive discounts. So at this point of time, sometime in the month of April, May 2017, a lot of people bought new vehicles simply because they were available at huge discounts. So you can see that this article also talks about a drop in production. This is in 2019, 2 years after that happened. And this happened because there was a sudden dip in the economy. We all know about this last year, how there was a sudden dip in the economic growth in the country, and sales of vehicles, sales of a lot of other products also all over the country, they suddenly came down. And this was not because of any particular government policy or any particular thing which happened in India, but it was a global phenomenon which had its ripples in India as well. So you can see that there was a sudden dip in vehicles, as this chart shows here. The passenger vehicles falling down, the degrowth here. This is all, I guess, year-on-year data, although it's not mentioned explicitly. So similarly, two-wheelers and four-wheelers both had massive drops. And you can see how all these plants announced shutdowns, production shutdowns. All the major automobile manufacturers announced major plant shutdowns. So this is what happened. Cars and SUVs worth 35,000 crores and two-wheelers worth 17,500 crores were unsold as on June 1st. 7 of the top 10 car makers in India announced shutdowns in May and June 2019. And these include all these companies, and the information also tells us how many days they were shut down. So the dealers were the worst hit, and they had inventory of as much as 50% more than normal, and they had to pay GST on even the unsold vehicles. Okay, so therefore we realize from these examples also, and also from so many other examples, almost every other day you see articles in the newspapers or magazines, news magazines, talking about the inventory positions, the levels of inventory in different industries. So inventory burdens the system in multiple ways. And here in this slide, I'm listing a few ways in which inventory is a burden. One is the holding cost or the carrying cost. The holding cost is basically, a reflection of the logged in money, the money that's logged in as inventory. So for example, if you think that at a given point of time in a given organization, there is, let's say, 1,000 crore rupees worth of inventory. The inventory worth in a huge organization, there's inventory in the work in progress. It says work in progress, it's worth 1,000 crores. Okay. Now, you may think that that 1,000 crores is actually a very small amount compared to the turnover of that company. That company's turnover, maybe say annual turnover, maybe 15,000 crores. So you may think, what's the big deal? But then, if you look at the 1,000 crores in isolation, you'll realize that suppose this 1,000 crores of money, which is now as lying as inventory here at this point of time, and on an average, it's about that much. So if this was actually lying in a, let's say, a bank or some financial institution which can generate interest, then the amount of interest that could have been got from this money would be huge, would probably be, say, at least 80, 90 or 100 crores per year, right? And this would probably pay a lot of our salaries or help us to meet a lot of our expenditure which we have. So huge amount of money. So it's as good as saying that if this money is lying here as inventory, then that much money, the interest that you could have earned is a foregone interest, the foregone earning, and is a cost to the company. So that is what we mean by holding cost. Holding cost, a large proportion of the holding cost comes from the opportunity cost or the lost revenue that could have been earned if that money was used in some other manner. Now, apart from this lost revenue or lost interest, you can think that there are other aspects of holding inventory, like the warehouse rent, the rent that you would pay for a warehouse to store this, or your own storing facility, the cost of maintaining that, the cost of cleaning, the cost of labor, the cost of insurance that you would take to protect your inventory. So all these costs are associated with holding inventory. Apart from holding costs, in the production area, when there is a lot of inventory, it causes congestion, it causes clogging, and it increases the amount of effort required to move goods around. In a typical production environment, there's a lot of movement of material, and this gets hampered when there is a lot of inventory in the workplace. Of course, there is also a decrease of production capacity. So the facility that has been set up for production, it's meant to be used in the best possible way, and inventory eats up that space. So if the inventory was much lower, then that space could be used for something else. You can generate something else by using that space and earn more money. And finally, when there is a lot of inventory, it's also subject to the risk of defect and disaster. The warehouse could be destroyed by fire, there could be theft, there could be pests which come and attack and damage the inventory, depending on the type of inventory, like food grains. So all these things make inventory a burden to the system. And ideally, a company would like to have as less inventory as possible. So there are specific terms associated with the undesirable aspects of inventory. One is called stock out. Stock out is when we have too less inventory, and when the customer order comes, we are unable to fulfill it at that point of time. And then it results in lost sales. The customer may come to us to buy something. Let's say we are a retail store, a pharma store, let's say, and we want to buy medicine. And we go there, and the medicine is required urgently. It cannot wait. So we tell the customer that, sorry, we don't have it now, but it will come after 3 days. Customer says, I cannot wait. So therefore, the customer goes to the next store and buys it. So this is called a stock out. A stock out means it's an order which is lost because we are not able to fulfill the demand at the point of time that it arises. Okay, and therefore this does not add to the next period's demand. This language is used when we do mathematical modeling of inventory. So when we are doing mathematical modeling, we have to indicate whether the inventory at a given point of time can carry forward or not. So an order which comes does not carry forward in the case of a stock out. In contrast to a stock out, there is something called a back order. A back order is something that cannot be fulfilled when the demand arises, but it can fulfill later. It's an order which the producer or the seller can retain and fulfill at a later point of time than when it actually arose. So it adds to the next period's demand. Okay, such an order is called a back order. So in the case of a back order, there is no lost sale. It is just the sale gets postponed. The order is retained and sold later. Backlog is connected to back order. Backlog is basically an indication of the negative inventory, or how many back orders has been accumulated. How many in the sense, what is the total inventory corresponding to the back order that will need to be kept to fulfill all the back orders. That is called backlog. So you can think of all these examples as examples of backlog.